Are you ready to move beyond the surface level of burnout recovery and dive into a deeper transformation? Well, in today's episode, I'm kicking off a brand new series and we're going to uncover the 6 essential pillars of burnout recovery that I use with my clients every single day. So get ready to discover the first 3 powerful pillars that you can apply to your life, no matter where you're at on your journey to overcoming burnout or breaking free of overwhelm. Let's go. Are you a big hearted, ambitious woman feeling completely fried by overwhelm and burnout? Do you crave a life of purpose and joy but feel stuck in a cycle of stress and exhaustion? Welcome to Burnout to Bliss, the podcast that empowers you to finally break free, reconnect with yourself, and create a life you absolutely love on your own terms. I'm Dr. Fee, and I'm passionate about helping women like you pour love into themselves first so they can actually enjoy their success and embrace their bliss. So get ready to expand your life beyond what you thought was possible in healing, love, leadership, success, purpose, and wealth. Now, you might have noticed a little shift in our opening, a deepening, a transformation. That's right. We're evolving. So, while the Bliss movement was all about taking that leap of faith and following the inkling of your heart, embracing your bliss, I felt a calling to hold space for the messy, beautiful journey, the inevitable challenges, the classrooms that lead us there. And that's why I'm really thrilled to announce today that the evolution of this podcast into Burnout to Bliss. Now, this change itself reflects a really valuable lesson, and that is taking action without needing to be perfect, like progress over perfection. I launched the Bliss movement, and each week, as I've been showing up for you and for myself, I found myself actually coming back to my roots. I've always been Burnout to Bliss since taking that leap from medicine and becoming an online transformation coach. Burnout to Bliss has been my thing. And so reclaiming this shift comes from a really deep personal place and a desire to connect more authentically with where so many women are right now. And unfortunately, if you're feeling burnt out, you're not alone. Research shows that most of us are caught in a cycle of overwhelm, on the brink of burnout, or in the depth of it, like feeling its grip. And we're living in a constant state of survival mode. I mean, gosh, we are just glorifying the hustle and grind, right? And it's a real struggle to even imagine what bliss looks like or feels like amidst the chaos of daily life. But here's the thing, this conversation about burnout is relevant to you even if you're not in burnout, if you desire an ever expanding, truly blissful life. Because let's face it, none of us are immune to the pressures and demands of our modern world. Like, life is a series of inevitable challenges and ebbs and flows. And in my experience, these fundamentals of burnout recovery are the fundamentals to an ever expanding blissful life. So if you're here and you're like, I'm not burnt out, I'm not overwhelmed, but I just desire more, well, what you find and what you discover in these episodes will apply. These are the tools that will not only help you recover from burnout, but also equip you to navigate everything, like life's ups and downs, inevitable challenges, with more resilience and grace and ease, so you don't lose your peace when life gets messy. Because let's just face it, life does get messy. Now, I often say to my clients who start to work with me, like, this is never about a decision. It's not a decision to just do a program with me, with Dr. Fee. It's about them claiming an extraordinary life, a result, an outcome that just is breathtaking, one that's going to support them well beyond the 12 weeks. And this is about creating this massive ripple effect, a tsunami of change that transforms the rest of their lives, but supports them through the messy times, help them to embrace their perfectly messy life. It's just one of these things of aligning to what is normal and natural, and that is the ebbs and flows of life. So this week, I've had the absolute privilege of catching up with some of my most amazing clients from years and years ago and hearing their stories, their successes, their ongoing evolution and transformation, and how the Burnout to Bliss process has supported them through life's ups and downs and heartache and moments of like, oh my OMG, like WTF is going on. And it has brought me to tears. Like, these women have navigated huge leaps, leaps of faith, career changes. They've claimed the next level of success and purpose in their life. They've gone for it. They've like claimed their dreams, their desires. They've also, some of us have faced the most scariest health challenges like cancer and other confronting difficulties with, their family members being sick, or, even embracing motherhood, finally falling pregnant, and like, soon to emerge from that cocoon of, the first year after having a baby. And these tools and the Burnout to Bliss process has supported them through all of that, like the celebrations of, rather than trying to avoid stress out there, it's just like, well, actually, what do I need so that I can navigate this feeling strong, feeling held, giving myself what it is that I need, pouring love into myself first so it overflows into my projects, into the situation, so that the best outcome for all happens, so that I can take care of me, of my family, the people I love, and the most, like, they get to know me, see me, who I really am, And so even back when I was a doctor, I was really fueled by this passion for helping my patients overcome some of the most difficult circumstances. I mean, their lives have just broken down around them, and you don't end up being an integrative doctor without really all of a sudden you become the light for people who are navigating such significant issues, right? Significant health challenges, and often been told, look, nothing's wrong, or there's nothing else that can be done. And for me, I embraced that. Like, I took that challenge on and I constantly sought ways to improve my approach. I evolved how I structured my consultations, and even the prescriptions I offered looked very, very different. Like, I just realized I needed to look beyond the traditional medical model, and I had to follow my heart's yearning to create something more holistic, more transformative. And that's when I left medicine, and that's how Burnout to Bliss was born. And I poured everything that I knew about healing, and I combined it with my passion for one-on-one mentorship, and developed a framework that just weaves in so much accountability to help women to really focus on what's most important, and really, help them to get it on a really deep, profound level. And while I had big expectations for that program, even I have needed many moments to fully comprehend, grasp how successful and significant it's been for my clients. And it's been so incredible to witness their transformations. And, some would probably say, hey, don't fix what's not broken, but that's not how I operate. And so over the last years, I've been really trying to discern how to make it better, and evolve the way that I approach. I never get comfortable, always stretch and call in even more magnificent outcomes for me, for my clients, for our community, and of course that ripple effect into the world. And so Burnout to Bliss has evolved in many different ways. It's gone from an 8-week program, 9 to 12, and then up to 6 month and a 12 month. And now, it's really this beautiful curated 12-week experience that goes even deeper. It's like this bringing everything together to really support women in a very held way. And we're launching this July. So it's very, very exciting. Now, back to those client stories, hearing their feedback, it really has lit a fire within me. Again, I'm in awe, and it's just this beautiful process to, I believe that it's going to create such profound, sustainable change. And then to receive the evidence of it, it's just cultivated a deep sense of commitment to share these tools and strategies with as many women like you as possible. And so this name change for the podcast, it's not just about the name change. It's actually a commitment to walking alongside you every step of the way and providing as much inspiration and support that I can to help you from a place of depletion and overwhelm to a place of deep self-love and feeling full and fulfilled and happy and embracing a life that you truly love living. And of course, I'm limited with how much I can do and offer in a podcast or YouTube channel. But, whether you work with me personally or not, my intention is that you get something really valuable and something that resonates with you, and that's something that you really need that supports you on your journey in each and every episode. So, that now brings us to the heart of today's episode. And it's going to be not just today, but in subsequent episodes, because there's a bit that I want to talk to you about around the 6 essential pillars that I incorporate in my work with my clients. It's the heart of the Burnout to Bliss process. It's what I believe is absolutely necessary to get you through the challenges of fight or flight, trauma, feeling overwhelmed, anxiety, physical collapse, burnout, and even just that sense of like, I can't even enjoy my success, I'm missing out, and all of the impacts that happen where you start to push away the people you love, or you miss out on the joys of motherhood, or you're getting so caught up in the drama of life that you just miss out on enjoying your precious life. And so today we're going to dive into the first 3 pillars. And we're starting with the foundation, which is what I refer to as the vital reset. Now, I'm going to be talking a little bit about science. So hang in there. And if you want to know more, do join my free Facebook group, because coming up, I'm actually going to do a live class, and that gives me the opportunity to have slides and really share with you. Sometimes it's better to learn about science visually, like you want to see how things work and what the stress cycle and burnout cycle really looks like. So I invite you to join me there and take your knowledge even deeper. So basically, this first pillar is all about getting back to basics and taking care of our physical bodies, like giving ourselves the nourishment we need to thrive. So it's about tuning into the wisdom of our bodies and understanding the intricate ways that stress manifests within us. So sometimes we can just dismiss, oh yeah, I'm stressed. But actually, as a former medical doctor, stress underpins most of what we're navigating in the medical world right now. It is actually very, very important. But because we're normalizing the baseline of stress and surviving, we're sort of, we put it to the side, or we might put it at the bottom of a prescription and be like, oh yeah, and do some meditation, or just deal with that stress. And there's a lot of stigma around it too. And we can feel a little fobbed off, or we're like, oh, they just think it's all in my mind. But it's really understanding how critical the mind-body link really is. Okay. Now, when I talk about the vital reset and how I support my clients, it's important to understand that for some of you in burnout, it might actually mean exploring more specific nutritional plans and seeking support from naturopathic or integrative medical doctors, or alternatives like Ayurvedic practitioners. Like, it really depends on the toll that living in a chronic state of survival has had on you physically. Okay. So, I firmly believe that, as I just said, chronic stress, it underpins this is what I believe, the rise of autoimmune conditions and cancer and other immune related diseases like mental health disorders, depression, and then heart disease and chronic inflammatory disorders. I mean, goodness, it's there. It's important. So this pillar acknowledges that our hormones are really interconnected in this beautiful, delicate symphony. And when one instrument is out of tune, the whole orchestra suffers. It sounds like me when I come to play the piano, okay? Or playing the recorder. So, it's important, because this isn't really how conventional medicine looks at health, is it? Like, if you are having a sex hormone issue, you go see a gynecologist. If you're seeing If you're experiencing sugar issues, you go see an endocrinologist. If you're experiencing mental health problems, you go see a psychiatrist. And it's all compartmentalized, but really just the fundamentals, the basics of physiology and biochemistry show that, you know, our hormones speak to each other. And our chronic stress, it's primarily driven by cortisol. Like, that's the main stress hormone, and that interacts with other key players. So let me take you through that. The first is the thyroid hormone. Like, this is what's responsible for metabolism. And if you've ever felt like you can't shift that extra weight, like no matter how much you diet or you exercise, like, chronic stress will disrupt your thyroid function, and it will make weight management and other factors around your metabolism like this absolute uphill battle. Okay, sex hormones, hello, PMS from hell, right? Stress wreaks havoc on your sex hormones, and it will potentially lead to really crazy periods, irregular periods, painful cramps, infertility, and a low libido. I mean, anytime you're feeling stressed out, you may notice that your libido dips or your cycle shifts. And really, it's time to reclaim that balance and your feminine power. Now, insulin. So insulin is really responsible. It's a key player in metabolism. And so, if you are suffering those afternoon sugar cravings or energy dips, like getting the nods, well, stress is playing a real role there too, because cortisol throws your blood sugar way out of whack, and you'll get these highs and lows, you get the hangries, and it leads to cravings like, oh my gosh, I just give me that sugar now, and energy crashes, like I said, and of course, difficulty losing weight. And it might even contribute to waking up in the middle of the night as well. It's very complicated and a complex interplay. And then, speaking about sleep, it also relates to melatonin, and this is our sleep drug. And so if you're like, sleep, what's that again? So, it might be that you're constantly feeling wired but tired, or you wake up at 3 a.m. with your mind switched on, or you're feeling hungover in the morning despite getting the hours sleep. It's your melatonin production is likely taking a massive hit from your chronic stress because of the inverse relationship there, and I've done another episode about that I invite you to check out. So while addressing these imbalances, like, you just going through this list can be like, oh my god, there's so much there, Dr. Fee. Like, I'm actually a really firm believer in the power and simplicity. And this is coming from a perspective where I have done a ton of training in functional medicine, in environmental and nutritional medicine, and I've done really complicated management of chronic illnesses and medical illnesses. And honestly, coming back to this, like, this is what I say to my clients all the time: simple things that we do consistently has a profound effect. And if we can give the body an environment or a situation on the right things, it will take care of itself. And so the work that I often do with my clients is just very simple yet incredibly effective strategies that you can incorporate into your diet, your lifestyle, that will help balance your hormones, support your nervous system, like reset it, and really nurture your well-being by prioritizing sleep and supporting that. So if you're pushing yourself with caffeine and sugar and alcohol, so you need the uppers and you need the downers, and you're not getting enough sleep, you're ignoring your body's cries for help, your well-being will continue to decline. And I talk about this. This is where I jump into my free group for this upcoming training, where I'll talk about the burnout cycle. But, once you step into that, if you don't correct these factors, you kind of just spiral and get worse and worse, become more increasingly sensitive to stress, and then your well-being gets impacted. And unfortunately, things just get worse. But to take steps to correct these imbalances, You'll then empower your body. You give your body what it is that it needs. It honestly wants to find its natural equilibrium. It wants to restore homeostasis, come back to a baseline. And as a result, you will feel way more energized and stable and centered and clear headed and balanced. You get your brain back. I do need to do an episode about brain fog, but it's a really beautiful experience to get your brain back, clarity, and feel vital. So that's the first element. Now, the journey from burnout to bliss is as much as an internal one as it is external. So it's important to think about the strategies that we can do when it comes to restoring our hormones and nervous system regulation and sleep, refinement and improvement. But we want to look at the internal factors too. And that's why the second pillar, which is what I refer to as the SAGE strategy, that's the approach that I have, my unique approach to helping you to cultivate a positive mindset and tap into the incredible power of your mind. It's about understanding your thought patterns, perception, and ultimately master this your inner world, like to become a sage, the wisdom that you are, to awaken that. Now, it's about shifting your perspective from one of absolute limitation or even slight limitation and fear to one of like possibility and self-belief so that you fuel your life. Now, here's the thing. When we're trapped in a survival state, there's a constant fight or flight mode at play, and our brains shut down. There's real brain changes that happen where we become wired to focus on threats and the worst case scenarios. Like it's our primal instinct that is designed to keep us safe from danger. Except right now in life, we're perceiving little things like the ding on your phone or an email or, knocks on the door, noises, the dog barking, your kids just making noises as kids do, like threats, danger, right? But in our modern world, like it's just like we're overwhelmed. Okay, that's not like the life or death situations necessarily, but just everyday day stresses that is pinging off our nervous system, so we're getting the same response. Now, consider this: the average person experiences 60 to 80,000 thoughts per day. Right, that's a lot of thoughts. And a staggering 60 to 80% of those thoughts are negative. This is what research has shown. That's in a normal, healthy individual. Now imagine what happens when you're in a state of burnout or overwhelm. Like the negativity bias, the lens that you look through gets distorted. The negativity bias becomes amplified. It creates this ongoing vicious cycle of stress and anxiety and overwhelm. Oh my goodness. And this is where the power of selective attention comes in. Now, psychologists have found that you see what you're looking for. If you're constantly searching for problems and threats, then what? You're going to find them everywhere. You also see what you care about. Like your brain prioritizes information that aligns with your existing beliefs and values. Okay. So if you believe that the world is a dangerous place, or I'm never going to get better, and I'm unsupported, and nothing good ever happens, your brain will seek out. It actually works for you to prove you right. The brain wants to prove you right and support that belief. And the last is like what you focus on expands. So the more attention you give to negative thoughts and experiences, the more they dominate your reality. Is that what we really want? Mm-mm. Now, the good news is that we have the power to change this. And when we change this, because our thoughts impact our feelings and our feelings impact, well, that's really an expression of the physiology that is happening in our body. This has a huge impact on our ability to heal and feel vital and feel energized and all of these things. But it's also incredible to think this is how we transform our life from the inside out, because events that are happening moment to moment in our life, they themselves are very neutral until we assign meaning to them. So let me say that again. Events themselves are neutral until we assign meaning to them. I like them, I don't like them. They're good, they're bad. That meaning, the way that we experience the world around us, is entirely determined by our thoughts and beliefs. Two people can experience the same event, but based on the thoughts, the beliefs, the lens that I look through, it could be like a once in a lifetime opportunity, or it could be my worst nightmare. And I'm sure you've had examples of this in your own life where, your sister or your sibling will remember a particular event very different to what you did, or like myself, like I can see something and see the good in the situation or the good in the person based on my beliefs, and not necessarily the same for my husband, although he's pretty good. So by understanding the principles of neuroscience, we can learn. Like we can learn to rewire our brain. We can consciously choose our thoughts. We can ensure that we focus on positivity and resilience and strength. And this, when we rewire our brain, we rewire our body. The mind body connection is real. And we can interrupt this cycle of like absolute negativity, the negativity bias where everything's bad and against us, constant threats, worst case scenario, and create this whole new internal landscape that is like, oh my gosh, possibility flourishes, the birds are singing, and even possible to be like Disney. But honestly, this is the doorway, the first step into really tapping into an inner sense of calm and peace. And so for me, when I think about the way that I approach this, my unique strategy, which I call the SAGE strategy, it's all about the tools and the techniques. It's not just about information, but it's about empowering ourselves to incorporate the shifts and change in our own thinking so that we transform, we transform our minds, we rewire our minds, and in turn, our body and our whole life. So we don't want to just leave things on that level, though, because as I commonly say, you can't think your way out of burnout. It's important, but this is where my third pillar, which I call the freedom framework, comes in. It's all about the heart. We've got to go deeper. And so this dives deep into the heart of the matter, or, where we acknowledge our emotional nature and our needs and explore how they drive our behavior. Have you ever found yourself, knowing that something is good for you or wanting to change something in your life, but then doing the exact opposite, right? Well, it's our heart, it's our emotional nature that underpins the very sabotage, the burnout, the overwhelm that we're trying to escape. So, to really understand it, what we get to think about is how, in our relentless pursuit of having a good life, you know what I mean? We all want to have a good life. We often are wired, like we disconnect from the pain, from the negative emotions. We're so desperate to avoid feeling anger and shame and grief, or any of those ick, the messy, uncomfortable feelings. But in pushing them down, like, oh, no, 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 I'm not going to feel that. Oh, gosh, no, push that. Oh, I can't think that. Oh, I don't want to feel that. By pushing down and soldiering on, like, just keep going, we actually suppress our real human experience. Like, we are having a human experience, and it's normal and natural to have this full breadth of human emotions. And even though we're trying to avoid pain, like that's why we don't want to feel this, we actually become so full of pain. We end up carrying this huge burden of unprocessed emotions and experiences. And it's like, oh my gosh, it's the weight of the world is on you. And it's like, oh, and that was my experience of burnout. It really came after a time of working in Africa, which was the most rewarding but freaking challenging experience. And I didn't have a clue how to handle that. And then I stepped straight into doing, emergency medicine training, and like, oh, the pressure. It was just, I found myself so exhausted because it's so exhausting trying to keep it all together with this pushed down, like this emotional suppression takes a real toll on our body. Our body has to process it, so we get sick or we become overly sensitive to life, to other people. We close off, we can't trust, we want to put a guard up around ourselves, we feel unsafe, we feel disconnected, we lose sight of who we truly are, because there's all this emotions and feelings there. And like, honestly, how often do you check in? How often are you checking in with who you are, how you feel, and what is it that you need, and giving that to yourself? When I talk about pouring love into yourself first, I don't mean the self-care of like getting your nails done or having a bath or a massage. That's all good. I mean real meaningful self-care, like really meeting this, what's screaming out for attention. So, if you continue to ignore all of those signals, then these suppressed emotions, they find a way to boil over. Like, we erupt, like suddenly lash out at loved ones, or feel really impatient or frustrated or just angry. And it's like it's a pressure cooker. It's got to come out some way. And unfortunately, we end up often hurting those that are closest to us in the process, and we will self-sabotage. Like, if you understand, those unhealthy sabotage patterns are a symptom of something being unmet, or something else that's screaming out for attention. As I keep saying, those late night pantry raids where you find yourself shoving all the Tim Tams in your mouth, and it's like, oh, fog eating, and the excessive online shopping sprees, and numbing out, like just looking at Netflix or on Instagram, like just countless, like zoning out. Like, these are desperate attempts to escape the ick, to escape the discomfort of our unacknowledged emotions. And if you don't believe me, next time you find yourself wanting something sweet, or binging, just tune in. Is there this particular feeling there? And you'll probably be like, oh yeah, I just need a drink. And like, that's the next point. Like, we numb out, like alcohol, or getting really busy with work. I just can't think about that. I'm just throwing myself into here. Or like I said, social media, just losing yourself scrolling through that. These become our escapism from being present in life, and actually feeling like we don't want to feel our human experience, our emotional experience. Sometimes, rather than lashing out, we actually we retract, we pull away, and we withdraw. And it's because we just feel risky, and relationships feel hard, and we don't want to feel vulnerable, and so we isolate ourselves, and that can really disrupt connection with our loved ones. We can lose confidence. We lose confidence if we're disconnected from our heart, because self-doubt just creeps in. All those thoughts, those people, what will those people think? And which people? These people up here. We just constantly hear this, or feel this sense of not enoughness. Like, I'm not smart enough, I'm not worthy enough, I'm not worthy of love, I'm not worthy of success. Oh my gosh, our inner critic is just so loud, it takes over, and we shrink back, we hold back from opportunities, and we spiral into this shame avoidance cycle. It's a real thing. And if we're not careful, we give up. When overwhelm becomes too much, the light at the end of the tunnel, it's so dim, it's starting to flicker out. We lose our spark, right? Dreams are just pushed aside, our passions fade, and we just, I don't know, we settle. It's like, we settle for the meh, in life, and it certainly doesn't feel fulfilling. So, the disconnection from our emotional selves, it is a fast track to burnout. And episode 2 is all about tuning out leads to burnout. So I invite you to take a listen to that if you're interested. But let me start to finish off by saying pillar number 3 doesn't just stop there. Like, to truly empower you, the Freedom Framework goes a step further by introducing my clients to this concept of emotional needs. It's recognizing how powerful our emotional nature, our emotional self is. Our emotional nature can fuel our dreams or absolutely sabotage them. It will win. It will win every time, for better or worse. Okay, so this is why when you know what you need, but you find yourself doing the exact opposite, the solution resides in your emotional nature and how you are meeting your emotional needs, whether or not you actually know what they are, and how you actually really support yourself on that level. When you learn to identify and meet your core emotional needs, so this is whether it's a need of validation or love or significance, security, assurance, those self-sabotaging patterns, like people pleasing, perfectionism, procrastination, oh God, this again, they actually dissolve. So often we all focus on, I just got to stop people pleasing or perfectionism. I got to stop controlling life. I got to beating myself up, or I just got to do it. Now that's on the cognitive level. Unless you actually meet it on the felt sense level, the heart level, it won't resolve. And when you do, when you actually meet your needs, like your emotional needs, figure that out, how to do it, you'll notice that all those symptoms, which people pleasing, perfectionism, and procrastination, it's a symptom. It's not the thing, it's the symptom of something deeper at play. They resolve. Why? It's because those patterns, right, are in place in order to get you in order to meet your emotional needs. Yes, it's in an unhealthy, unresourceful, unkind way. There's a part of us that's screaming out for attention, and those behaviors, even though they annoy us and it's frustrating and why can't I change, there's actually a reason for it. Now, this is a really big conversation and process, but I really want to plant this seed here because this is truly addressing the root cause. And when you do, you create such phenomenal, lasting, magnificent, breathtaking change in your life, because this is the definition of empowerment. I know who I am, I know what I need, and I know how to best give this to myself and how to communicate to others to support me in meeting my own needs. Emotional needs is very important when it comes to boundaries and standards. People think it's just about the words you say, and I got to just put in a work-life balance, and that's all on a cognitive level in the mind. It's up here. No, it's not enough, because really what people feel when it comes to boundaries is what people feel. There's an energetic component. There's a deeper level to it. If we haven't got it right within us, we can say no, but people keep pushing back. And I've spoken about that in a previous episode as well, around, how to implement boundaries that stick. So there you have it. It's been such a rich conversation. I have loved sharing these 3 pillars with you, and we're just halfway through the Burnout to Bliss process, and what has worked for my clients, what I truly believe is the solution that's going to help you no matter where you're at on your journey. And I just trust that something has resonated, like a little insight or a curiosity, and if so, lean in, take note, and lean in to find out more. And just know that there's stages in healing and learning, and that is, to know something is different to understanding something, then understanding something is different to lived experience or wisdom. And so for change to really happen, it's about that process. And if you're interested in really taking inspired action, incorporating tools and strategies, really feeling empowered in life, then reach out. I invite you to join me in our Burnout to Bliss program, which is our 12-week holistic framework that incorporates all the necessary elements like accountability and high-level coaching, working with me on every level: mind, body, heart, soul. So we kick off in July, and I'm going to invite you to head over to the link in the bio and apply for a chat, your free breakthrough session where we can really jump on a call together. It's either be with myself or my team, and to really support you no matter where you're at, like I said, and ensure that this is the best fit for you to move forward. And if not, it's okay, because we just know so much of what's available out there, and I'm sure something else will be if it's not us, something else might be the better fit. It's been so beautiful spending this time with you. If today's episode sparked something within you, please subscribe, leave a review, and share the love. Are you done feeling overwhelmed and burnt out? If you're craving a curated, holistic framework that addresses burnout on every level, body, mind, heart, and soul, to get you claiming your life on your terms, then my Burnout to Bliss program is perfect. Apply for a free breakthrough session with my team, and let's deep dive into your unique situation to help you reclaim your energy, joy, and power. Now, if you'd prefer to get a taste of what's possible, then come join our amazing Bliss Sisterhood. It's our low-cost, high-value monthly community membership, and you'll find the links to both in my bio. So stay tuned for the next episode where we'll unlock even more secrets to living a blissful life. Remember, you are powerful beyond measure. Take care.